Four kings in the microphone. Coobie both looking dough. Four kings in the microphone. Coobie both looking dough. Four kings in the microphone. Coobie both looking.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BlaqSkooz Fools show. It's
What up?
another great Sunday at this time, man. My name is Coobie.
What's up? It's O.
What up, this BlaqSkooz Bowl?
And this is Professor Luck here today to talk about role models. A role model is a person looked to by others as an example to be imitated. So I'm thinking if you split the word role model and its model and then role, a model is usually a person or a thing that's sought out to be, an example of perfection. And, a role is just a part a person plays. So in our lifetime, we probably had tons of different role models. Some were good, some were bad. Fellas, who do y'all think, or can you think back to like one of your first role models you had growing up as a kid?
Well, one of mine was he used to run the PAL. They didn't call it, well, it was PAL.
Pal Center.
Right, and his name was Uncle Jeff. He had used to run the open gym, and he was very he had all the kids from Edenmore Projects all the way to Gun Hill, all the way through White Plains and Bronxwood, all the kids up in the gym playing ball and mentoring them, and he was a great role model when I was coming up.
And for the listener, those are projects and places in New York City, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just so we could be clear where everybody's at. For me, I would say my uncle and my dad probably was my first role models, but it's funny because I look at a role model as not only your successes, but as your failures too. And I think that guided me more than anything. So, you don't have to be the best person, but you can give a person some type of guidance, right? A lot of people look at role models as people that's always super positive. I look at it as people who give me the best direction, period. Your shortcomings is your shortcomings. If you're not living right, but you still can guide a kid or a person to do right, to me, I still consider you a role model. So I look at it from that standpoint. I don't look at it as the typical everyday good guy. I look at it as, yo, shorty, that's not right. You're not living right. That's how I look at it. So I would say my dad and probably my uncle was my people that probably gave me some great advice. Owen?
Well, my first role model was Mr. W. I don't know if you remember him, cool, but
Yeah.
He was a coach at PS21. Real cool, older guy, taught us basketball, even taught us chess, real cool dude. That was my first role model.
I thought you was talking about George Washington.
He was about 7 foot too.
Yeah. It might have been only 6'2", but we was kids at the time.
Right, and Bo, and all jokes aside, could play tennis like a mofo.
For real.
Word.
Hey.
Go ahead.
My first role model is like untraditional, as a person that I didn't even know. And I think, a lot of kids nowadays probably share the same, thoughts that I did, was Dr. J, Julius Erving. I grew up in Philadelphia, and he was like the only thing that you seen on TV all the time, no matter where you went, was Dr. J. And he had this aura about him. He was smooth with it. He was articulate, well-spoken, could dress nice, tall, athletic.
From
rich,
New York.
From New York. And he was like the savior. He was the savior in Philly, though. He came to Philly, I think, in '76 and played for the Sixers. But everybody wanted to be like, Dr. J growing up. Never had anything bad to say about. Even now to this day, you never heard about him at any controversy or anything. But he was like the typical person that you wanted a black man to be back then. So it was always pushed on, his image. I think he had a shoe contract. And he was just, Converse. he was like, Converse. He was just everything back then. So you know, he was like my first role model. And like I said, the crazy thing is, he's a person I never met. So it was like a, you know, like a fictional hero to mine, you know, whereas a lot of people have that person at the Power Center or somebody in their family, but he was my first. He wasn't my only one, but he was the first person that I looked up to. So I consider him my first role model.
That's cool, but you know, Iverson, not to go off subject, was the #1 noted professional athlete from Philly, the top athlete. They did like a survey or a poll, and they had Iverson #1, and I want to say Dr. J might have been #2.
Yeah, because all the older people probably didn't even have it, don't know how to use the internet
on,
to
don't
take
do
the
that.
survey. That's probably the truth. I mean,
or they might not be here no
Doc
more.
grew up
So
in the 70s though.
yeah,
Yeah.
they might not be here. So okay, you got that
It's
one.
tainted.
That's true.
Yeah, man, that survey was tainted, man. Don't come to Doc like that.
Okay, I'm with you on that one.
So what do y'all think are some advantages of having a role model, you know, growing up?
I say guidance, man. That's why I say I can't only say you to me, you don't really have to be super good. You don't have to be the best person in the world. You can have flaws. You know, you could be human and still be a role model, right? That's just how I look at it. It doesn't have to be the best guy. You don't have to you know, be a squeaky clean guy. You don't have to be, you know, not trying to say all preachers are squeaky clean, but you don't have to be a preacher or anything like that to be a role model. I think anybody who gives great guidance and try to stir people in the right direction, regardless of whatever their lifestyle is, to me, that's a role model, because you can have people who stir you the wrong way, although they live a positive life, right? You could get people to coerce you to do different things. Is that one person who stops you or who try to guide you from going down the wrong path? That's a role model to me.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's a constant, I'm gonna say the word constant, it's a constant source of, you know, inspiration, you know, and motivation. I say constant because it can't be somebody that's just in and out. You know, they need people that's, you know, consistently in their life that's going to inspire them. Like for me, like I said, was Dr. J. When I woke up every morning, I seen that Dr. J post on my wall. And that made me do my push-ups. It made me go to class. It made me do a lot of things just by that being the first thing I seen in the morning I woke up, just that poster. It was my inspiration to want to be a ball player, you know, to want to do things the right way. Because I remember he used to come on TV, he had commercials, and he would tell you, say no to drugs and stuff like that. And by him saying it was like crazy. I ain't never using drugs. Dr. J said not to use drugs. So I think it has to be a constant source of motivation, because we see people coming in and out of your lives, you know, and that role model needs to be somebody that's there to see you through things. I'm not saying he has to be there forever, but he needs to be there, you know, when you're going through something that's going to help, you know, get you out of that rut.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Do you think a rapper could be a role model?
Most of them are. Really. I think a lot of kids nowadays look up to these guys as role models. And that's why I said, you know, the last thing I would do is try to X a person out and try to tell a person how to live, regardless, again, of whatever they're doing. You know, I think with the younger generation now, a lot of the older guys, like that generational gap of knowledge transfer stuff is just different. And we quick to, and I'm going to say we because I think it's part of my generation too, is quick to write people off if they're not doing what we think they should be doing, or they're not in life where we think they should be at in life, or because $1 million, you got millions of dollars, you shouldn't be do this. But we still got to look at the age difference, and we still got to look at how they brought up. So to me, I think all of them are role models if they're in the public eye and they have a following. Right? Now, do they give the right guidance is the question. And if they don't, is it right to condemn them is the next question. Because again, these are kids we talking about, right? And did they have role models? So you got
but you know, they thrown in positions they're not ready for. You know, they don't ask to be role models, and that's the sad part about it. You know, it's like parents. A lot of parents do things that make them become parents, but they're not ready to be parents. Just like you said, they're kids. You know, the kids look at them as role models, but they're not ready for that. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But to be a role model, that's something you have to I'm not gonna say it's a lifestyle, but it's something you need to be prepared for, because role models aren't perfect. They're not. But you have a responsibility when you have people that are idolizing you and watching your every move. Once that responsibility becomes real to you, then I think that's when you take the next step to become a role model. But for some of us, it's never going to be real, and we don't want to be role models.
Look, you're going
teach his
Megatron.
own.
You went Megatron on us on that last sentence, and your speech kind of speeding up. So say that one more time.
I said some of us are, not ready for that, position to be a role model, and it's unfair of the public now that we have social media and people are thrown, into the internet, and you're everywhere. So, I don't know what to say about the rappers, because a lot of times what they rap about is what they go through, and they're not being socially responsible by some of the things that they say. So if they change their lyrics to be role models, it might not be as popular. So it's like you stuck. You want to sell records, or do you want to be a role model?
But what's funny is that you say that. Do we ask movie people to change their scripts? Right? We don't. Our culture, for some reason, and again, I said I've never seen Scarface in my life. It irks me to see the way our people idolize people like Scarface. That to me, I'm not entertained by that, and maybe it's because I lived around guys who did the same thing, so I never was really fully entertained by that. But we don't ask, people to change their scripts in movies. New Jack City, great movie, right? So why do we have to ask rappers, or why do rappers need to change? Is it because music really taps into your soul? Does it make it that real? You get what I'm saying? To me, it's all entertainment. To asking a young guy, asking these guys to change their lyrics, or saying that because your lyrics are harsh, you're not a role model. I think to me that's totally unfair. That's not.
Yeah, I think it's because when you in a movie is acting, so people know that's not really who you are. But as in, when you rapping, these kids really think you living that life that you rap about. I remember Jay-Z said Scarface the movie did more than Scarface the rapper to me. I shouldn't take
exactly.
that. You know what I'm saying? He said, so.
But it's,
yeah, I mean, could you see, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, and that's the thing. There's a million other movies that you can reference where they had, like I said, New Jack City was a great movie, classic movie. And again, our people get stuck on the Scarface thing. I've never seen. I'm not really interested in that. But I struggle with the whole music, and because I like the younger generation, whatever they rap about, I guess vibe to it. But
yeah,
I
look
think
what you said. Whatever they rap about, you don't even know what they say.
I think it's unfair to hold a lot of these younger guys, and again, like you said, they're not developed. A lot of these guys are independent. And I don't even know if A&R still exists anymore, where they develop artists. I don't even know if that's a thing, because you could just get online and have your own platform, right? So if you independent, then a lot of them probably looking at, I'm not letting nobody tell me what to do. Nobody owns me, so I'm gonna just do me as I see fit.
So why do you think these young boys are put in positions? I mean, is it because our parents aren't our first role models? For like a lot of kids, their parents aren't their first role models, or probably never their role models. A lot of kids don't want to be like their parents. You always hear this thing, I want to be better than you, or I mean, is it the fault of the parent?
I mean, you should want to be better than your parent, but they're the one that give you that foundation. Like my father, it's like he to me, it seemed like he never took a day off from work. He was always grinding. Back in the days, he was a young father. He used to bun his weed, but he always went to work.
From Jamaica, though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, okay, that's a little more common there. Let's just let the people know.
I mean, but he always went to work. He always did what he was supposed to do. He always provide for us, So I guess that probably was my first role model.
Yeah,
you know?
because you
You might
were
not look at your parents as a role model, but you know, he was. Even though he had his own little negative things, but overall he did a great job, you know. And I'm proud of him, you know. I'm proud to say my father was my role model.
All right,
It's a good
fellas,
story.
let's take a break right here. After this, we'll be right back.